that was the intro cinematic to Ristar, my next BK Play series. This is a Super Nintendo. Shows how well this game's produced because, yeah, I thought it was a Super Nintendo game. No. This is a Sega Genesis game released in 1995. Even though the ROM that I'm using dates to September 1994 for some reason. Let's not show the gameplay demo. We're going to be playing it anyway. And this is a very late release for the Genesis, very polished game, and you could probably tell who made it based on, well, you're about to see. That style of title card is very familiar. Yes, this is a... Well, actually, I don't know if it's developed specifically by Sonic Team, but it definitely has that Sega, like, flair. Like, you can tell there's some Sonic energy in here just from the way it looks and sounds. It has, like, some serious Knuckles Chaotix vibes, to be honest. Like, the color palette and stuff, except they pulled it off on the vanilla Genesis, not the 32X, which kind of shows how almost unnecessary that add-on was. I mean, there were some games that were only possible on that thing, like, Doom... Or, look at this, it's a mechanic that was just completely reused for Shadow Generations. Look at this. You can swing on it, and depending on the angle, you can, like, well, you don't get height from it, though, to be fair. It's really interesting seeing mechanics like that get reused into future games. Although maybe I should have kept that guy alive. I'm still not sure if I could have used him to get over to the secret area over there. But regardless, this is Ristar. How does he play? Well, he jumps, and he grabs. That's it. That's basically all of his moves. And as you can see, he can grab onto stuff. That's very Sonic-free, even though this was actually after Sonic-free. And fun fact, those, his arms are not really sprites. They're like vector lines that are just drawn in real time, and they look really freaking good. That's why they're able to be so dynamically rotated and such. Even though sprite rotation is actually not a foreign concept to the Genesis. I was playing some Mega Turrican the other day, and that game also has some really nice sprite rotation. But either way, we were done with the first level. Oh, wait, fuck, yeah, you gotta Sonic Rush this shit. So much of this stuff ended up in Sonic. I mean, probably because they were bitter and maybe this game didn't do as well as they wanted to. And so, oh, wait, that's not the end of the level. Okay, this is the end of the level, I think. Or it's a bonus stage? I don't remember. We're gonna find out. It's a bonus stage. Alright, we're still in the first level, technically, but we have a little bonus area. 3, 2, 1, yeah, sure. And it's how the bonus levels work. Basically, you have these City Escape-esque, you gotta, there you go. You have to hold it down, and then you let go at just the right time, and you launch yourself up. Really simple, because it's just the first one. And it's really interesting how you actually have to grab items in this game. Like, you have to pick them up. You know, it's not like you just walk into them and you collect them. You have to go out of your way to grab them. And it gives this game really tactile feel. You can also climb walls like this. It's a little bit... It's not the best way to do it, but still, you got these arrows letting you know where to go. All the enemies are very simple to defeat. It's a really straightforward platformer with just so much charm and so much polish. I mean, all the bosses have this really great, this really great sense of dimension to them. Look at this dude. He looks like he's 3D, except not really. What do you do with him? Well, simple. You hit the bottom of his head, and he turns to it. He becomes a different color, and bada boom, he's dead. And that's not the end of the level, actually. These levels go on for quite some time. Something that some games of a similar kind to this have been criticized, wink wink. But either way, stars are your health, as you would expect, because he is a star after all, though. Ristar doesn't really look that much like a star, if that makes sense. He has like this really weird design with the way he's like a sphere. He looks really funny in like his high detail sprite work. Now this should be the end of the level, right? Oh no, it does a Sonic 1 thing where, yeah, height bonus. I didn't get any because I completely forgot about how this works. And we're on to the next area. Really lovely sprite art here. I mean, this game is absolutely a showpiece for the Sega Genesis. It's such a swan song. You know, I think the Genesis received a couple extra games after its supposed, you know, end of lifespan. Much like how the Dreamcast still receives games, which is just insane. But the thing is, this game is just like actually really good and first party and feels polished and nice and isn't just like, oh, well, the Genesis sold well, so we gotta keep releasing for that thing. It's no, it's actually like a true attempt at like just a really great game. There you go, gotcha. Yeah, the mechanics they have a lot of depth to them despite the fact that it's so simple. You can do a lot of different things with the enemies and maneuver around the stage in a really cool way, right? Ristar is a very, it almost feels like a progressive kind of game in the sense that, you know how like a lot of games will have like grappling hooks and stuff or different means of getting around? Well, this game kind of did that, but in 1995, right? And it's so fun, so smooth. Just, man, okay, this game really exceeded, I wouldn't say that, I didn't really have any expectations going in to begin with. I can't really say it exceeded my expectations because I didn't have any to like, at all. Really. It was just kind of a matter of me being like, well, Ristar is a thing. I played it for like 2 seconds in one of Sonic's collections, and then I never played it again, so why not? Let's play it properly. I played it properly for, 20 or so, 30 minutes, and I was like, fuck, I gotta do a Let's Play of this. This game is actually really, really great and totally slept on. It has seen, as I said, re-releases, but never a sequel. I mean, like, there are some fan-made sequels, which, because it's Sega and not Nintendo, they will not be shut down, hopefully, but nothing official, and that really sucks. It's like, I get that this game was released very late during the Genesis's lifespan, so most people had their eyes on, well, let's be real, not the Saturn. They had their eyes on the PS1, most likely, right? That's kind of how it worked back then. Not back then, just in general. Like how, I don't know anyone who's gonna be like going crazy over the new Xbox whatever. Oh, fuck. I just realized I'm probably gonna die if I try to get this. But you know what? I'm gonna get it anyway, because I have save states, so I can do whatever the hell I want. Come on. I want to try and get that collectible, because there's an extra little thing up there, which I don't even know what it is. Okay, there's this one problem, though. The jump button and the attack button are, like, in my head, they're swapped, as in I always expect certain keys on my keyboard to be a certain function, and so because of that, now I will consistently jump when I mean to attack and vice versa. I will get used to it. I'm not going to just pussy out and change the controls. I have to be able to adapt. So I'm actually not going to change it. I'm going to try and do I'm going to do my best to actually, yeah, I guess adapt to this new control scheme. Well, it's not really a new control scheme. This is the gimmick for the stage, by the way. You got to hit these, I don't know what the fuck those are supposed to be, but you hit them and the level goes all bright and stuff, and then it goes back to being dark. And it's actually really simple. You got these assholes just throwing shit at you in the background. Is this the end of the level? It might be if I... yep, there you go. Now we got an actual hype bonus. I expect this to be a fairly short playthrough, judging by the fact that this is, well, a 1995 Sega Genesis title that isn't an RPG or anything, so it's not going to be the longest game in the world. Look at the lighting. That's really nicely done for Genesis. In fact, the intro looked really fantastic. I'm going to show it at the start of the video. Without any narration, I'm not going to try and, like, do some cringe-ass narration or whatever. Just like, oh, I don't have the voice for narration, okay? Even if I tried. So, I'd rather just leave it silent. I think that would look better. Oh, look better? It would sound better. So what about this boss? Well, he's got these simple attack patterns, this impossible to avoid thing, but oh, he gets a little animation when he breaks out. That's really nice. Come on, don't get hit by. There you go. It's not impossible to avoid. I'm just trash. When you see those pellets come out from behind, you got these shards falling down, and you basically just have to knock this little dude who's on his back off his back, and then set him flying like that. And it's a really simple fight. This game has a great tactile feel. Everything feels like you just grab him and you fucking attack him, and it's great. I love it's very Mischief Makers in a way, but I think, how many years before Mischief Makers? When did that game come out again? I don't remember. I think it was it late in the N64's lifespan? Planet Undertow. More like CGR Undertow. I'm sorry. I've been binge watching this videos. Did you know those guys have like more Wii U reviews than... No, they have more 3DS reviews than PS1 reviews. What the fuck? I didn't even know the 3DS had more than five games, to be honest. I mean, it had more games than the Wii U, I'm sure. But anyway, you could really tell this game was made by Sega, because everything is a music video in these games, and it's got such a flair, man, and the little digitized voice clips, such great polish. This is our water level, and you know, this game has Mario 64 swimming controls before Mario 64. Look, it's like you point him in a direction and you tap the button to swim. Fortunately, there's no air mirror, so you don't have to worry about, you know, drowning, because that's stupid. They may be made by Sega, but they're not going to bring back the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, you know, that thing from Sonic. Because I never cared for it, and it actually almost surprises me that they kept it around for so long. I mean, it's still around, I'm pretty sure. Can you well, no, Frontiers doesn't have any underwater, 3D underwater sections, does it? You can definitely drown in Lost World and Frosis, and what else? Can you drown? No, there's no... You can't go in any water in Shadow Generations because he just, you know, like, he doesn't swim. He has this weird Black Doom ability that's really cool. It's a really great solution to, because, you know, Sonic in Unleashed, I think he gained the ability, no, actually it was Sonic Advance 2, but still, he gained the ability to run on water. But it was a little finicky with how much speed you had to carry, and it was very risky and stuff like that, and it did make for some great set pieces, but I think Shadow Generations found a very good alternative to that. Either way, I have like only 1 hit point, so you gotta be really freaking careful. By really freaking careful, I mean that. There you go, boom, easy. And hopefully this game, Blast EM, won't do the same shit as PCSXE, where, is that how you pronounce it? No. PCSX2, whatever. Basically, the PS2 emulator where, like, you know, sometimes the save state doesn't save because reasons. Look at that tidal wave effect. That's not the most that's not quite as nice as the Hydro City effect from Sonic 3, but still, ow, you Goomba motherfucker. These are basically the Goombas of this game. Ooh, is there like a little puddle? Oh no, that happens every time. I thought that like there was like a splash effect when you landed in the puddles. Can you grab these dudes? No? Well, you can grab them after they've been taken out. And of course you got that baseline that like every Sega Genesis game ever has that baseline. You know, that chromatic thing, dun 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 dun, you know, that thing going on, which is like really just so typical for the time. But it's great, you know? It's a really funky way to sort of introduce like a little bit of movement to your song. And oh man, okay, thank God. I think we are, is this the end? This might be the end. I really shouldn't be saying thank God for the end of a level in a game that I really, really enjoy. It's just that I was low health, so I was nervous that, you know, this would become a fucking save state fest, because I'm not going to let myself actually die, because that would make the flow even worse, right? Now we're entering the Lost Palace, and I love how those, you have these, like, super obvious Sonic free sounds. Like that instrument at the start, I'm not sure what kind of instrument you even call it. It sounds a bit like a xylophone, but it probably isn't. You know, that's such a Sonic free thing to do. Ooh, these bubbles actually stop. That's interesting. It's not like Mega Man 9. You think I can... There's definitely something for me to collect up there, so I'm gonna have to, like, let them... come on. I'm trying to do this, so I have to let them go up high enough, and then I have to jump on one of them, right? Oh, I can actually grab them too, so I can like grab it, and when no, he instantly, okay, what if I have to get some speed up? No, this doesn't work like Echo the Dolphin. And yeah, another Sega game, of course it would reference it in that way. Well, it's not really a reference, just a shared game mechanic, but let me try this again. Because you can clearly see that you can get on top of them, right? So, I got the bubbles, wait a little bit, no, he stops them. Is this the intended design, or if I'm just being stupid right now? Because it's like, I really want to try and get on top of one of these, there you go, and then, like that, because look at this, there's some goodies up there, and it's like you totally want to try and collect that, right? It's very clever in the way that they expect you to basically treat it like it matters when it really doesn't, because I'm sure it's just a hit point or something, and I don't really need any more hit points right now, but okay, fuck it, clearly that can't be that important if it's so hard to grab. What the hell? What is this? Why is there a starfish on me? Okay, are those like those piranha guys from Hydro City? I'm not sure. Regardless, where do we go now? I think we have to go down, actually. Right? No. What the fuck? Am I? Oh, no, of course. You use the climbing mechanic. Because, yes, you can climb walls. You can just do that. There you go. You get it all the way up, and then you drop a gem. And then you have to go... That's weird. I'm pretty sure I've played past this... Oh, go figure. You have to go this way instead. Oh boy, are we gonna enter the where the fuck do I go mode this quickly? No, we're not, because this game is this is a linear 2D platformer from the era of basically the golden age of linear 2D platformers. You know, and I saw this video on my feed. I haven't watched it, but it's like, why? Remember when platformers were popular? And you know, the thumbnail, of course, is like, what happened with Banjo and Mario in the thumbnail? And you know, it makes me wonder. There's nothing to wonder about. What do you mean, what happened? You see, the reason why platformers used to be so popular is because it was so difficult back then to depict any kind of action. Let's be real. If we had the technology to make a first-person shooter early on, like very early into gaming's lifespan, we would have, right? That would have been the most satisfying thing, because that is, even though I love platformers, the best thing you can possibly do in a game is to shoot a guy in the face. Like, no one wants to do anything else other than that, because that's just true. It's just the most fun thing you can do. And there were some games like that, to be fair, but they really didn't have the fidelity to showcase a person. It would usually be like tanks and stuff like that. Did you know that the Atari 2600 has this game, I believe, called Air Raid, which is literally a flight sim, like in first person, that works, and you shoot guys, and it's like actually really satisfying and fun. Which is insane because it's fucking Atari, right? But it actually works really well. It's really smooth. Like it's convincing enough illusion when it comes to feeling like you're actually flying, right? And there's a reason why the top-down shooter was like basically the dominant genre of the 80s, you know, other than Pac-Man type games as well. And it's because that kind of shit is just really fun. But it got repetitive, right? Whereas the platformer, it allowed you to visit all of these different locations. And now it's true that top-down shooters also have different levels and aesthetics and such, but they felt kind of the same because you were doing the exact same thing in the exact same way. Whereas here, look at this. This may still be the same game, but this feels very different because of all the different mechanics that I'm utilizing and the gimmicks in the stage, right? Ow, for fuck's sake. So I feel like I'm actually doing something different right now compared to just running and jumping. I'm not just doing that. Now I'm swimming. And I've got all these things to, you know, try and maneuver around. And, oh, that's cool. They come to life like that. That's really sick, actually. They become hydrated and they come to life. That's a really nice effect. I wonder how they pulled it off on Genesis. You know, the way it, like, unveils. It changes their palette in real time. That's really nice. And so the second that the technology became available to have, like, actual first-person shooting, of course it became the dominant genre, because that's what people always want, you know? That's what I always want, too. Like, I'd love to play a game right now where I'm shooting a guy in the face, but I get a little bit repetitive, to be honest. That's why I spice it up with different kinds of games, you know? But, like, even right now, as you're watching this, I'm also uploading a series of Max Payne, which is a game where you shoot a guy in the face. You know, it's a third-person action game, also a very popular genre. I wonder what the percentage is, like, in terms of just the pure financial margin of, like, which ones sell better, first-person or third-person shooters. I think it might be third-person because of the potential for more, like, adventure-type qualities, and also the fact that you don't have to worry about motion sickness as much because it's not in first-person. Okay, that is complete bullshit. You can't... No. See, because Ristar gets stuck in this animation, right? So he gets hit. Because the thing about first person is you always have to worry about motion sickness because, you know, limited FOVs and such, which isn't that big of a deal in third person. It's still a potential concern, but it's nowhere near as much of a problem, right? Just because of the fact that you're not in first person and the field of view is just naturally a little wider just because of the way third person games work, right? You can see more compared to first person, right? We've got our full hit points back, and that feels nice. Although now I'm actually going to just take the hits like a man instead of just resetting, because it's like, fuck it, I don't want to die. But either way, yeah. So that's my theory. It's not even a theory, it's basically just how it works. That's why first-person shooters dominated in third-person action games as well, and platformers died out, quote-unquote. No, platformers... in a way, they were never meant to be alive. They were just the only option we had to fulfill that need of, like, we want a sense of progress and adventure. Because, yeah, sure, Galaga is fun and all, but it's just one black screen, right? And even other games where you're, you know, like Musha, for example, where you actually are traveling through different stages, even then, it kind of feels the same. This doesn't feel the same, but when advances in the way that first-person shooters are able to be developed, and 3D rendering and such, and more elaborate level designs, you know, Quake and such, and even Doom, we were able to implement the things that the platformer genre developed, so like different level gimmicks and tropes, and implement those into a first-person shooter. So, like, level 1 of the shooter could have falling platforms, I guess, maybe. It can have walls that close in on you. It can have these switches. It can have these kind of enemies. You get what I mean? As things got more developed. So there's a reason why that became basically the de facto genre, right? Because it's far more dependent on what we can render compared to a platformer. You don't need much for a platformer. There's literally games on the Atari 2600 that are actually still pretty playable, relatively speaking. They're not like this or anything. No, not even close, but... oh, fuck it, just beat the level. There you go. But you get the idea, whereas you can't really do a real like let's say a driving game as well, those are very dependent on the tech, because like you're basically just doing the same shit, and you need to be able to keep the brain active by having pretty cars to look at, you know? This is the token underwater boss, I believe, right? Oh, look at the way that things like move around in the background. There you go. You see he's broken out, and it's like, whoa, look at this dude in the background. It's got the parallax effect. And yeah, this game looks amazing for Genesis. Like, as I said, I mistook it. I almost called it a Super Nintendo game for a second, because my brain was like, this looks way too good. It's not, though. You know, it's not a Super Nintendo game. Even though I've always found that the Sega Genesis aesthetic is like really appealing. It's very similar. Mark from Classic Game Room goes on about how, games systems used to be different. Actually, no. I would say that the Genesis and the Super Nintendo are very similar. The Master System and the NES, those are quite different, actually, in the way that they look and feel. But apart from the sound, the look of Genesis versus Super Nintendo was actually very, very similar, even if technically they're different. You know, developers were able to achieve similar results. Whereas, then the fifth generation, right? So, like, for example, and even then, more like the late fifth generation, when we introduced different systems, because the Saturn and the PlayStation kind of look the same, pretty much, but then there was the N64 and Dreamcast, and that's when things started to look very different, right? And this is actually going to do it for part 1 of Ristar. I'll catch you guys in part 2, where we'll tackle the next batch of levels. It's not going to be a very long series, probably going to be like 4 parts, depending on how long the game is, really. So yeah, I'll see you guys then.